Hi everyone, hope you're doing good. Today we're gonna talk about mindfulness, which is one of a very important trait in leadership skills. And this comes in very handy when you're working in a big team or when you're working with a lot of other members in the same project. Let's deep dive and see what mindfulness is. First of all, we need to understand what is automatic cycle of behavior. Everyone in the team, including you, they are bombarded with a lot of situations. And when we talk about situations, not just the situations at work, but situations at their personal life as well. They need to take care of the family, they need to take care of the cooking, they need to take care of the household stuff. But at the same time, when you talk about the professional world, they need to take care of the technical stuff they're working on. They need to review someone else's work. They need to communicate with other stakeholders as well. They need to create so many documents as well. So, all in all, a lot of things happen at the same time, professionally as well as personally in all of our lives. And if, as an individual, we're not careful, then we act in an automatic manner. This automatic manner is something which we have learned over the time since we are growing. This is something we have seen from the situations around us, how to deal this is something which we have developed over time, and this is called as principle of automaticity. Now let's look at the example how this cyclic behavior works. So just to explain this, we have taken an example. For example, you're working on one of the most important feature, right? And of course the definition of important could be different as per individuals. And all of a sudden your manager comes and tells you that, hey, you are moved out of this project, you will no longer be working on this project. Now just imagine the situation. If this happens, your manager comes and tells you abruptly in front of everyone that, hey, you are not going to work on this project. What would be the consequences, right? So now this is the event. Post the event, what would happen? There would be rise of automatic thoughts, and the thought would be something like, why am I moved? Are there any performance issues? Did I not completed the work on time? Am I not on the right track? Am I delivering a poor quality of work? Or did I say something wrong to anyone in the team? Anything coming to your mind, right? And then, of course, these automatic thoughts would give rise to emotions. And these emotions, of course, depending upon the event and the thoughts you had, they could differ. Either you could be happy, you could be numb, you could be sad, you could be envy, you could be angry. Now, the example which I took just a couple of seconds back, right? Depending upon the situation, I think you'll be either very furious, angry, or you'll be very envy. So now these are the thoughts plus emotions post the event, right? Now, what could be the action? Depending upon the event and the thought and emotions you had, right? We all tend to take some actions. Now, your manager came to you, said that, okay, you are removed from this project, you had some thoughts, then you will take some actions. And then these actions would lead to further events. For example, when the manager was having that conversation with you, you were pretty futile, you were very furious, and then you had an argument with the manager. If that was the case, then of course your manager might take certain more actions, and then there would be further events, and then to those events there would be some thoughts and emotions again, and then there would be again some actions. So whatever we do whenever a certain event happens, if we tend to take some actions, there would be further events as well, and then this continues, and this is called chain of event action. And this is not okay, this is not acceptable. So just to repeat, what is this automaticity we were talking about, right? So the automaticity is like the event. The event is the manager came to you and told that, okay, you are moved out of the project. The important thing need to understand here is we do not control the event. Whatever is happening in the professional world or whatever is happening in the personal world as well, we do not control the event. Your kid fell in the room, right? You can't do anything about it. You can just take care of your thoughts and emotions and the action you take after the event. So we do not control the events, thoughts and emotions. So post the event, right? Everyone, we tend to have the negative mindset, right? So if we talk again about the example we were talking a couple of minutes back, you would be like, okay, am I being fired? Is that the reason I am removed from this project? You would feel sad, you would feel fearful, and this is where our negative mindset is taking over the positive mindsets, and the UV tend to think negatively. And then what could be the actions of these particular thoughts and emotions? The actions would be, we would act without energy. And it's not just about the office work, right? Even when we go back home, when we deal with the family and kids, we would act without energy. Every time it's the negativity which is in our head. And then we might act in improper manner as well, and then those improper manner would give rise to new events. For example, your kid comes to you, or your family members, they come to you and they ask you that, okay, let's go out, or your kid wants to go and play with you. Then you might refuse, you might behave in an inappropriate manner as well, and then of course it might give rise to new events as well. And this negative cycle continues, which is not good actually. So let's look at this diagram. From this diagram, of course, the event is the first thing which happens, and post the event there are thoughts and emotions in your mind, followed by the actions you take. And these actions would again be directly proportional to the kind of thoughts and emotions you had. And depending on the action you take, absolutely there would be some events which are out of your control. So, what is the solution? The solution is this cycle needs to be broken, that's for sure. But where this cycle can be broken? So, there are 2 points. One, when the event happens, there are thoughts and emotions. So, first, the cycle can be broken at this point of time. So, whenever the event happens, you take a pause, you just step back and try to understand, okay, what is the cause of this event? Instead of having thoughts and emotions at the same time, you just pause and try to find the reasons for those events. In that case, the example we were talking about, you could go and ask to your manager, hey, can I have the insight? Why am I being moved of this project? The positive side, if you have this conversation, the positive side would be the manager would say, hey, there is another critical project for the company and we want you to work on that project. So it's very important to understand why a particular event happened. If somehow things are not going in your favor and you're not able to break the cycle here, and you had the negative thoughts, the fear, the fired mindset, right, then you don't have to be very volatile or aggressive at the same moment. You can again take a pause here, step back and think, okay, what kind of actions you could take here? Either you could go and debate, argue with the manager, or you could again stop and analyze, okay, what are the next step I have to take here? Do I need to prepare myself for the next bigger opportunity, or do I need to speak to someone else in the team? So you have to think properly before taking any action. Once you have taken the action, it will give rise to another event, and that is out of our control. So we have to break this cycle of emotions and automaticity behavior. Moving to the next part, we're talking about multitasking here. Now, a lot of us might think that how the previous topic, which I was explaining a couple of minutes back, is related to multitasking. Indeed, it is very much linked to the previous topic we were talking about. So, before understanding how these things are interrelated, let's do a very quick exercise. We all feel that multitasking, context switching is very important, and we should very quickly, frequently do context switching. Let's do a very simple exercise. Let's write first multitasking is productive in the first line, and then this line has got 25 characters if we leave out the spaces. And then you just write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So if you write this, right, so first you perform multitasking is productive, and then you write 1, 2, 3, 4 till 25. Once you're done, just make sure you note the time and just feel how easy or how complicated it was. Now, once you have done this, do another exercise, and this time instead of writing multitasking is productive in one go and the numbers in one go, you write M first and then number one, and then U and then number two, and then L and then three. So this time you are context switching between two statements. One is, of course, the characters, multitasking is productive, and side by side you are trying to write the numbers as well, and just try to note the time in this case as well. When you complete this exercise, you will note that the first one was very easy plus quick as well. The another one was, of course, it's easy, but if you compare to the first one, it's not that easy. Plus, you would end up taking more time as well. So The same stuff, when you're doing in a context switching mode, it becomes more complicated. So what are the issues with multitasking? First, of course, the time goes up, the difficulty of the task increases as well, and chances of error goes up. If you feel that, okay, if you can do three, four, five things at a time, then probably, of course, you can do it, but the chances of error might go up as well. If you are in a meeting, you are listening to the meeting, but at the same time you're doing your own work, maybe preparing a document, maybe writing some technical code, maybe reviewing someone else's pull request, then the chances of leaving the errors would be higher in this case. Now, this multitasking and automatic cycle of behavior, how they're interlinked. Well, a lot of studies have shown that we can do justice to one task at a time. It's not like that we cannot do two, three, four tasks at a time. Of course we can, but when we talk about justice, when you talk about 100% uh, focus rate, when we talk about 100% completion, no errors, then of course we can do justice to one task at a time. If you're busy with some other stuff in the meeting, which I taught a couple of seconds back, if you're busy with some other stuff in the meeting, then we might not be able to perceive things properly. If we do not pay attention to the events happening in front of us, we will not be able to think properly and might act in a wrong manner, provide wrong, misleading information. So, what I want to say from this small video of mindfulness, that whatever we are doing, we need to make sure that we are not context switching very frequently. Of course, we can do context switching, but let's try to complete a small task first and then completely move from one task to another task instead of very quickly doing context switching. Also, whenever something happens at your work or at your house or within the family, right, you need to understand there is a very small difference, there is a very small time we get whenever a stimulus happens, and the response time, that's very less. So you make sure the way you respond is appropriate, and you need to break the cycle. Thank you so much. Hope you have a good time.